to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Mythic Legion's Sir Gideon Heavensbrand from the Necronominus wave. From the minute I saw the production sample at Legion's Con, at Intern for a Day, on display, I had to open this one first. It just blew me away at Legion's Con. It's blowing me away right now. And the reason is the details are just absolutely incredible. This feels like the next level when it comes to Mythic Legions in terms of sculpture, in terms of cloth goods, in terms of accessories, in terms of it being a fully loaded figure. Feels really good. The joints feel amazing. It's got that Valiant Knight articulation. It has, it just has this feeling like it's not a $50 figure. This feels like an $80 figure to me. Almost like a Mezco. It honestly, if it had a little more cloth goods, it would really feel like a Mezco 112 type figure. And it just kind of has that sense of this being like a very high-end premium thing when you factor in all the unique sculpture, the tiny, precise details in that sculpture. A lot of companies do intricate sculpture, but they don't get it sharp and crisp and tight the way that the Four Horsemen do. The paint is amazing. These new pieces, like there's just like top to bottom, everything is brand new. So awesome figure. Let's get into this review. All right, here he is up close. Get a look at the details. That push broom mustache, Tom Selleck style. He's got those blue eyes. Very nicely painted face. Nothing too fancy, but, you know, a nice straightforward face with some shading and some nice little details, and the eyes look pretty good. And then one thing I wanted to point out here, just like an example of how much more detailed these figures are right now than they used to be, is just take a look at the difference in the sculpture between the old wings and the new wings. Like just how much more detail is in those wings now. And these are the old ones. These are from the Barbarian. It's roughly the same paint scheme, right? But like you could just see just how much sharper and crisp and just tighter everything is in there. And the paint just is super crisp as well. So yeah, just kind of an example there of how they evolved. I really wish I had the first Gideon. I meant to grab him at some point. I know that like we're probably at its all-time low price-wise, and I should have grabbed that for this review, like to at least to have them next to each other, but I don't. I apologize. Here's a look at that helmet topper. Now, these wings and this helmet topper are compatible with the other Mythic Legions helmet top holes and the helmets with the side holes. So these are like the bigger holes, and this is that like smaller hole up top, but those are all compatible. The visor does move. Mine's a little tight, but swings down like this. And then that's how he looks with the visor down. Again, there's just like so many intricate little details. And you have the silver paint that's kind of accenting those details. And you got some silvers up the front here. And just everything is intricate and so nicely done. Brand new collar piece right here. This is that soft, that's kind of softer plastic that the collars are usually made out of. We have this left shoulder armor with the crazy egalis sculpture going on. Continues that same motif down into the elbow armor with, you got some wings, you have the eagle head here, and then some more kind of like wing sculpture here into the gauntlet. And we've got the new knight hands that match. There's an accessory pack. I haven't opened that yet, but there's a set of gold hands that go with him because he only comes with gripping hands. He comes with the two different hinged gripping hands. Later on, I will take him all apart and like kind of deconstruct and just show you what he's all about. And then at that point, we can get a better look at the logo on the chest here, the Aetheron logo. But this new belt is awesome. I know there's a few figures that are going to be coming with this new belt, and the details are crazy leathery details. And then you have this other kind of padding, like padded leather almost on the inside of it, and little golden metallic details here. Got some pouches over here on the back. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then this upper torso cloth piece is separate from these lower pieces, and these lower pieces have that edge on them that give them a a nice fancy kind of look here. Like this guy is like the purest knight of the kingdom. He's like, he represents purity, and so all of this should be very ornate and I guess sort of celebratory and stuff, but kind of continues around the back here. And it's a metallic gold too. It's got a nice finish to it. And then the stitching, I really like that the blue part has like a gold stitching on there to kind of like connect everything together. And then you got like this blue here connecting with this blue here, and just I didn't show this shoulder armor. This is also new. It kind of looks like some of the other shoulder armors we've had, but I believe this is a brand new piece. And then a look at the legs. So he does have a loin, like, like the, I guess this would be a cod piece, but he does have like the typical loincloth piece that these figures usually have. And it's this one. It's been on a few, I want to say it's probably the same one from Hagnon, but I'm not 100% sure. Upper legs, I believe, are the same as Valiant Knight. Lower leg, obviously brand new with all that intricate detail. It kind of reminds me of like diamonds or something in there. You've got leather straps painted with silver buckles on top of that gold armor. You've got silver chainmail painted in the knee pit, if that's what that's called. Same thing in the elbows up here. These feet are, I believe, the same as the Valiant Knight in probably some of the Armory Knights and stuff. So newish feet. They're new on the Valiant Knight. But just kind of like the figure just comes together. It is just beautiful and it feels really good. And I'll talk about that in the articulation. But man, this thing's gorgeous. And here he is all zoomed out so you can get a look at the overall silhouette. To the top of the head, he's just under 7 inches tall. But when you add in all that helmet ornamentation and you get to the top of that helmet topper eagle, you're over 7.5, close to 7.75 inches tall. For comparisons, I wanted to start off with these two figures for a couple reasons. One is that they both have shades of gold, and two is that they are both representative of what I consider some of the top level sculpt, detail, paintwork, accessories. Like these feel comparable. Like this Gideon is on the same level as these two guys, which are always some of my favorite, Four Horsemen figures. The Ninian Infantry, the gold has some more reds in it. It's definitely a different kind of gold. It's more yellowy red kind of gold. And then the Monkey King is actually, in the armor, is actually pretty close to Gideon's gold. It's kind of like that more muted gold. It seems a little bit different because one has red accents and the other has blue accents, but I think they're very close in terms of the armor, the male gold color. Next up, a couple figures that are like spiritually almost a part of Necronominus in that they were part of the Knights and the Skeletons, and they're using parts from Necronominus. These are the Valiant Knight and the Skeleton Legion Builder 2, and of course, these look amazing together. Next up, we have a couple 2.0 Mythic Legions figures. On the left is the Elf Builder. That's the male Elf Builder, but the helmet, I think, is from the female Elf Builder. On the right, we have the Goblin Snag, where I swapped out a few parts, and just so you can get a sense of how Gideon looks next to a couple 2.0s. Here we have a couple Mythic Legions figures with cloth goods from some of the most well-known cloth good customizers out there. On the left is the Kylab quilted caparison with some chainmail and some other pieces there. And then on the right is the I forget what he's called, but he's like the village hunter or something like that from C. Jessam, who also designs the cloth goods for Four Horsemen Studios. And thus the Gideon Heavensbrand cloth goods were prototyped by CJ. And you can see that these all look awesome together. So this factory cloth right next to amazing custom cloth, all working really well together. Next, let's take a look at some other action figure lines with Sir Gideon Heavensbrand. On the left is the movie realization Ronin Mandalorian. On the right is the Icon Collectibles Dark Wolf from Frazetta Girls, and both of these I think look great. I know some people probably think it's weird, but I mix all of those Star Wars movie realization figures in with my Mythics. They're all together. And here we have a couple independent lines, the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Tiberius on the left, and the Savage Crucible Camo of the Isles on the right, and Mezco 112 Collective Conans with some cloth goods. Those pants on each of those are from C. Jessam. The one on the left, they're both King Conan. The one on the left has the accessory kit that Mezco sold, the Barbarian expansion pack, quilted, tunic thing. So these are customized Conans, but I think that this is a good example of where we're at with Four Horsemen. Like this knight, this Gideon is on the same level for me as these Conans. And it feels like the same quality as these Conan figures when it comes to all the details and everything about it. Like it's that good. NECA Ultimates Warduke and Elkhorn. I think that these look great as well. I know Warduke is a little taller. NECA's more like true 7-inch. But they fit in pretty well. He's not like towering over Gideon or anything like that. And Gideon with that stash, it's almost like a strong heart in a new knight's armor. So yeah, he could sub in for Strongheart for sure. And then finally, I just wanted to include a couple dragons in that opening shot. I almost imagined him fighting a dragon in that spin around. And so on the left is Arakagor, obviously. On the right is Scourge, but he's got some armor parts from the ogre and from the half giant, and then he's got a cape from Max Bird. If you're looking for that cape, they no longer make it because that figure is no longer in production, but it was the one he had made for the Storm Collectibles Ares figure. So if you can hunt one down, but there's plenty of capes out there. I know a lot of people ask me about that specific one. Okay, getting into accessories, let's start off with the alternate head sculpt, which is obviously it's got hair and it's without the helmet. I think the expressions are pretty similar. Maybe a slight difference in the furrow of the brow, but a very similar expression there. But obviously this one has the helmet off, so you got an unhelmeted head. I do wish it came with an alternate neck peg that just had the skin, right? The skin tone neck peg, because it comes with a second neck peg, but it's the exact same. The two neck pegs are exactly the same. So I wonder if they had meant to have it come with a flesh tone neck peg and they just messed up, or if this was on purpose. I'm not sure, but two neck pegs that they're basically the same, which is nice. It's a spare if you need another neck peg with a hinge for other figures, because most figures don't have hinged neck pegs, so it's nice to have the extra there. Like I said before, all of the helmet ornamentation comes off and is swappable with other figures, and that's how the helmet looks without it. Showed these already, but just to emphasize, these are accessories and he could totally function without them. We have the two shoulder pauldrons here. We've got the eagle one and the more basic one to give him some asymmetry. He does come with two belts here. So one's a very little thin one and one is a thicker one. And I thought initially that might be the same belt as the skeleton, but it's actually different. It's got some different details on it. So two belts, and this one does have the spot for a sheath or a sword on the back. He does come with two sets of hands, one horizontally hinged set of gripping hands and one vertically hinged set of gripping hands. And there is an accessory pack that has all the other hands in this gold color, so that's a really nice addition to the line. I just haven't opened that yet. Next up, his shield. So his shield is made of two parts. It has that decoration on the front, and then that is set through that hole like this, and you can pull this off. And these shields are modular. You could swap this out with other of these shield pieces, and then they have medallions that can go inside there. I think the accessory set has one, and possibly Sir Elijah maybe has one as well with that piece in the middle. But there's a look at that shield. Very cool. Very awesome stuff. I could see, I've said this before, but I could see a display where you just take these pieces and then put them on a diorama above your figures to be just sigils on the wall. And you can see it's got the Heavensbrand sword sculpted in there. Very nice. Very cool piece. The shield comes with the handle, and that makes it difficult to pose because the hands can often sway back and forth, and it can be hard to pose it with the handle in the hand. So they've included this time the arm grip handle, which actually makes it really good for posing, and that's how I had it set up in the opening shot, just to make it easier to pose. So that's a really nice addition. You get both with the figure. He comes with this brand new dagger and sheath that is just painted so well. It just has a slight weathered look to it to make it look not crummy, but like just worn. And then, you know, the sheath is functional, and you could take that sheath and you could stick it like into one of his slots over here if you wanted to have him, like, you know, with the sheath on there. And so lots of good options with this belt that he's wearing. It's got like loops over here and, you know, loop down here. So I don't consider this belt an accessory because it's part of the figure. But you could take that off. You could use that belt with other figures if you wanted. And of course, because legions are customizable, you could totally mix and match those pieces. And then we have the Heavensbrand with its sheath, which just looks amazing. I never had the Heavensbrand, so I'm like super pumped because it's like a really hard to find accessory or sword. And I believe this is a brand new sculpture that they've turned out here. And you can see some of the details. If you look at it, I guess this way, you can kind of see Egalis right there. Almost like the sword's coming out of Egalis's mouth, if you will, out of his beak. A little gemstone here, here, and here. And the blue handle, which I've messed around with, so it's got a little scuffage, which that's always going to happen when you have that flat kind of paint on there. And then you've got the end right there. But beautiful looking sword, beautiful looking sheath. The sheath has a very real world kind of look. I believe they based this on, I want to say Cameron was talking about this figure, and he said he based it on like a real world scabbard. So very cool piece. Super happy to have this in hand. All right, getting into articulation, this figure moves amazingly. Now, we're not into the era of double joints yet with Mythic Legion stuff. That's going to be in the future. And honestly, I don't really personally think the knights need it. I think this Valiant Knight style articulation is plenty, and I think it works really well. But yeah, I am also looking forward to like the jackal guy, like to get that in hand and see like what Mythic Legions with double joints are like. But I'm very happy with the way this guy moves. His neck has tons of range because of that hinge, and then it also has that ball joint. So there's just like a lot. You can almost get into some like unnatural kind of movement here, but really great movement in that neck. Arm can swing up to about here. A little bit more limited than I think the Valiant Knight was there because he's got all that ornate armor work up top there, but decent amount of range up there. Swings all the way around. Can come across the chest. The cloth can kind of get pinched in between and can limit things, but if you move the cloth out of the way and move the cloth out of the way, you get a pretty decent across the chest, and then, you know, you've got more than enough range to get two-handed weapon holding. You do have those single jointed elbows that are that new range that comes up past 90 degrees. So good range there. There's a twist above that elbow. There's a twist below there's a twist at the forearm, twist at the wrist, hinge at the hand. Getting into the torso articulation, he can crunch forward quite a bit. Same torso underneath as the Valiant Knight. So you're getting that same range. You can go back a little bit and can kind of go side to side and, you know, twist and all that. So a lot of great range in that lower torso, even though it is one solid piece. There's no like upper torso articulation. It's just that waist, but it does the job really well for me. Legs can kick forward to about here, and then, you know, you can couple that with that range and you've got a nice crouch forward motion. They can kick back a lot. They can hinge out to the side for the splits. There's a twist at the top of the thigh, and then there's a hinge at the knee that comes up just slightly past 90 degrees, and there's a twist below the knee. There's a hinge at the ankle, and then there's a rocker at the ankle and a twist, which is one of those little pieces of articulation that Mythic Legions has always had that is like underemphasized. That is a very important piece of articulation, that twist at the ankle. All right, I wanted to make sure that I disassembled this and kind of showed you what's up. So I went over and heated it up. I apologize. I have a finger injury that's going to prevent me from doing a lot of this, like popping and swapping stuff. But I popped it apart. I heated it up and took the arms off and everything. And this is a stretchy piece over here. So I'm actually removing this for the first time on camera here. And so you can slide that out like this, right? And then, you know, easily enough, you can just pull this belt piece off, and just kind of a quick look at that. And then we've got multiple pieces of cloth goods. We've got that one there, and then we've got this one here. And so you've got the sort of cod piece, and then you could pop it back together. We could put that armor or that belt thing back on there, and then put that torso back on. And it's going to be loose because they leave room for the cloth goods, but you could mess around with it and get it set up. And then let's see if I can get the arm in. Let me see. Yeah, okay. Get the arm back in. Again, I can't grip with my left hand very well, so a little struggle there. Okay, and we got that back in. Let's put the neck back on over here. And then this piece, this neck here, and then let's put the helmet on there. Okay. All right, and so there you have the knight with everything off. And again, like, this is floating a little bit because, you know, it's not meant to, it's meant to have space so that you can have this on here. But if you were to take, you know, another figure's belt and put it on there, it probably would work a little bit better, I think. But as you can see, these two pieces are separate. It's not like, you know, it gives you the illusion that it's one piece, but they are separate pieces functionally for the action figure. And then of course you've got the skirt piece. Okay, like I said earlier, I have a finger injury, which limits my ability to grip and do pop and swaps. So this is just the only one I'm going to do, and it's not really a pop and swap. It's more of like it's like a contained build, to use a Glyos term. The only thing I did add was just a basic sword, because I want this to essentially represent like Gideon's elite guard, right? Like having the Heavensbrand guard or something that is a generic character, just to show you like how versatile this figure is. You could totally army build this thing. And with the mask down, you can't even really see the face very well. So this could totally be anyone, or you could use an alternate head. Lots of possibilities. I just took the upper tunic off, and I took that very specific Egalis shoulder armor off, and I removed, you know, I didn't have it with the Heavensbrand. So pretty cool look here. Again, I apologize for not doing all the usual pop and swaps. Once my finger is better, at maybe like towards the end of all the Necronominus reviews, I'll do like another just the swaps video and really like showcase a lot of options with these Necronominus figures. There you have it, Gideon Heavensbrand. This is going to be tough to top from the rest of the wave. I may have started with the best one, but yeah, I mean, this figure kicks ass. I was pumped for it when it was first revealed. I was pumped for it when I saw the production samples at Legions Con 2024, and now I'm even more hyped up for this figure. I know the wait was long. It was a tough wait. 2 years is tough. I do, like a lot of people, hope, and I'm sure Four Horsemen hope as well, to get those production times down. But this figure is incredible, and for $50, like, I'm pretty blown away that this is a standard Mythic Legions figure. I don't buy a lot of Mythic Legions at that $50 price point because I pre-order everything. But to me, this feels like it's more than that. This feels, like I said, it feels like an $80 premium figure to me. So don't hesitate if you're on the fence about it and you're like, oh, I missed the $37 pre-order, I don't really want to pay $50 for it. That's not the case with this particular one. This figure is definitely worth it. It's so good. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, may the Force be with you.